Recently, I did a video on why legendary difficulty in Skyrim sucks. And what I realized from the comments section, with everyone who was disagreeing with me, is that none of them seem to understand how Skyrim works, whether it be from what the difficulties themselves actually change and how they vary from each other, how leveling in Skyrim works, or simply what I mean when I say min-maxed seem to confuse them. So, I figured it'd probably be a good idea to go over how these systems work, because there were a lot of interesting takes in that comment section. On a side note, I find it hilarious that there are people who legit have no idea what legendary difficulty does and just completely guess while making shit up and try to convince me about all the cool ways it changes the game. They've got no idea what they're fighting for, but they are fighting. And you've low-key kinda gotta respect that drive. So how does difficulty affect the game? Well, in Skyrim, difficulty is actually very simple. It is just two multipliers that change based on the difficulty that consists of NPC damage taken and player damage taken. The NPC damage taken, the wording on that is very important, because it reduces the damage that NPCs take from everything, not just you specifically. This is why on Master and Legendary difficulty, followers and summons are so strong. Adept difficulty is the normal difficulty that has both the player and enemies receiving 1 times damage from all sources. The only difference in Skyrim between Novice difficulty and Legendary difficulty is that on Legendary difficulty, NPCs only receive 0.25 times damage instead of 2 times damage, and the player takes 3 times damage instead of 0.5 times damage. That's it. It doesn't affect spawns, it doesn't change the way the NPCs work, it doesn't give them any crazy buffs. You simply hit like a wet noodle and your armor turns into cardboard. And without, spell damage reduction, all spells might as well be a fire hose nuking that cardboard. Well then how does leveling work in Skyrim? So, in Skyrim, we actually have level scaling. What this means is that most enemies, and even some items in the world, they scale with your level and spawn higher level variants based on that. And depending on your level, will even spawn enemies that weren't there in the first place. For example, here is a level 1 character walking up to Bleak Falls Barrow from Riverwood. And here is a level 40 plus character walking up to Bleak Falls Barrow from Riverwood. You get an ice troll here on your way up. If you enter the early game areas at a higher level, it will spawn much stronger enemies to better suit your level. In Skyrim, the world is leveled around you. Now, what do I mean by min-maxed? Simply, all I mean is that you have blacksmithing and enchanting at level 100 to fully upgrade your gear. For some reason, whenever I say this, everyone's mind goes straight to,
he means spamming alchemy potions and enchanting your gear to make better alchemy potions until you have 16.2 billion health.
No. Skyrim has an armor rating cap of 567. Anything above this doesn't actually do anything. But blacksmithing your gear helps a lot. Weapon damage scales infinitely though. And beyond that, putting 2 enchantments on all of your items to easily reach the 85% magic damage reduction cap, and also putting 40% one-handed damage buff on your gloves, boots, necklace, ring pretty much means that you'll be able to tank anything in the game and pretty much one-shot anything you come across on Legendary difficulty, effectively turning the game into Novice. This equates to a 100% cost reduction from magic builds, so your spells cost 0 magicka and you can spam them infinitely. My original point with my other video was not to tell you that you shouldn't play on Legendary difficulty. It was simply that it doesn't really make the game any more difficult, because it doesn't really change anything. At the end of the day, all it's really doing is increasing the importance of crafting skills. But with that being said, the correct way to play Skyrim is any way that you enjoy playing it. Playing on Legendary doesn't make you a better player than anyone else. Skyrim is an easy game, and the only thing that matters in a single player game is that you're enjoying the game. There is no need to ever feel pressured into Legendary, unless you've got your crafting skills up, because what's the fun in walking around one-shotting things?